My fellow Americans, my name is Albert Torcaso. I can be reached at 412-559-2731 or alberttorcaso@gmail.com, ALBERTTORCASO @gmail.com. That's GMAIL.com. What I'm about to tell you seems like a nightmare, and it doesn't seem real. Unfortunately, it is sad but real. We have the Republican Party in Congress to blame. We have Presidents Bush, Obama, and Trump to blame. We have Democratic-controlled sessions of Congress and Republican. But what they have done to our nation has made us live in an illusion. We are no longer living in the America we thought we were living in. We are living in an illusion. Even though some of you may not believe it, the reality is that if you look it up at your real libraries, if you look it up on YouTube, if you look it up on Google, Bing, Lycos, web crawler, MSN, you name it, you're going to find these laws exist. They're on the books, and both parties have allowed this travesty and tragedy to happen. My fellow Americans, freedom lost is the name of this video. Freedom lost. And it is exactly what the title says. Freedom has been lost in America because of the Patriot Act, because of the Real ID Act, because of the Military Commissions Act, and also because of the National Defense Authorization Act and the provisions that each of these laws have. The laws as a whole may have some good, That's debatable. But provisions in these laws take away each and every one of your individual rights. And if you do not believe me, let me tell you a little something. As of June the 6th, 2017, you will have to have a compliant federal license or federal compliant ID/license. The Pennsylvanians in my state and myself will no longer be allowed to go into federal buildings or on airplanes or in airplanes or airports even with their current state-issued license and their current state-issued ID. Your states may have the same issue. We have now the requirement to have a national ID or a real ID. We also have provisions in the National Defense Authorization Act that if you are considered an enemy combatant or called a terrorist, our government is allowed to detain you indefinitely, take all of your property, and they are also allowed to use drones and other means to kill you. Yes, you have heard what I just said. Our government has a provision for all 314 million plus Americans that it can be used and has been used against Americans to detain and in some cases terminate. That means kill. And that is because of the provision that was signed by then President Barack Obama. I believe it was on New Year's Eve 2013. There's a provision in the National Defense Authorization Act that allows this to happen, and it doesn't matter if you're an American citizen. All 314 million Americans are actually included, or actually, put it this way, at risk. Now, the Real ID Act is a danger to our sovereignty. It is a danger to our very freedoms because it requires us to register with a national register, and we can't even use our state-issued license or IDs as of June the 6th. Some people may ask me, what was my source of information? It was a conservative-leaning talk show that was on KQV, 1410 KQV in Pittsburgh, PA, or KQV.com. This is a reality. You can look up the Real ID Act, you can look up the Patriot Act, the Military Commissions Act of 2006 or 2009. You can also look up the National Defense Authorization Act. Collectively, they have taken away our freedom. Corporations in our government can now look at all of your information, including your telephone calls, your internet usage, your medical and financial records. You have zero privacy. And if for those of you who would say, well, I don't do anything wrong, why have I to worry? I will remind you of the words of Benjamin Franklin. Those who would exchange liberty for security deserve neither. I am not willing to do that. I've been speaking to Annette about what will I do now that I won't be able to get in a plane or go to any federal building without this, what amounts to almost like the mark of the devil, only it's digital or digitized. What will I do? I haven't reached a conclusion as to, or a decision as to what will I do. But I can tell you that every senator, every member of the House, Republican and Democrat, must be held accountable and it must be demanded of all Americans that we end these phony, dangerous laws. They do not protect us from terrorists. They actually make us more susceptible to them. They do not protect us in any real way. It is an invasion of privacy. It is a taking away of liberty. And it won't be long before our streets are lined with the military and martial law or something of that sort could easily be instituted. I know these words are extreme. The reality is they are in place. These laws are in place. You can choose to ignore, or you can choose to legally, ethically, peacefully, and financially take action. If I were you, I would call Congress right now and leave them voicemails for your senators and your congressmen and women. If I were you, I would take arms legally, peacefully, ethically, and financially, take up the battle for freedom, like our founders did, like our men and women still serving. What are they serving for? We claim that we have freedom, yet we have zero. My name is Albert Torcaso, and I will fight legally for my liberty. But I ask, what will you do?